So, maybe not Facebook. Hang on one second. Facebook's taking a second. Okay,
On Facebook.
now we are live everywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Room 420 in the Green Room. Episode number 11 now is what we're on. It's hard to believe I started keeping track of how many of these we've had. So here I have with me today, I have The Rising Fall with Steven on the guitar. We got Dimitri on bass, and we got Kim on lead vocals. Their drummer John couldn't join us for right now, but he might be hopping in the chat later, so go ahead and say hi to him if you see him in there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into The Rising Fall, and I want to hear personally from each one of you where your inspiration for music kind of started.
Who are we starting with?
Uh,
Ladies first, maybe?
ladies,
Yeah.
ladies
Yes?
first.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Ladies first. It's always a good.
Well, I always say that I was born into music. My parents were musicians themselves. They were in wedding bands and lounge acts. And my entire family, on both my mom and dad's sides, were also musicians. And we had so many practices at our house where they would be singing songs, and all of my family would be swapping positions. Like some people would play guitar, some people would play keyboards. It was a lot of fun. I was always subjected to hearing this as I grew up. My uncle he loved playing polkas. He was a polka like accordion player, and he was always at parties playing his accordion. Me and my brother also were so into music that we used to do little performances like Donnie and Marie Osmond. We were fascinated with them. So we used to take their skits and try to replicate the country and the city, city girl. And we would do performances in front of all our family. So I mean, it's been with me in my blood, in my veins, since I would say since I was 4 or 5 years old. I studied classical piano at age 6. So it's just been a great journey, and it's never stopped.
Hell yeah, it's a great way to get into music. I know a lot of people who start out pretty well in music because of their parents. Their parents were in music, so that's kind of how they got into it. Yeah, and then studying a lot. You studied quite a bit. It sounds like. I mean, like extensive music knowledge. So yeah,
More
let's go.
piano.
More
More piano,
piano.
not voice, just piano. I was going to be a concert pianist. That was what I was going to end up being in symphonies and orchestras. And then I played with a couple of them. I did do a couple pieces with them. I have nowhere near the ability to play what I used to play about 20 years ago on piano. I mean, I'm quite rusty when it comes to that now, but that was it. I didn't really study voice ever. Never took lessons. I just wanted to sing and write more than anything. So because I wrote songs and nobody else would sing them, I was forced to sing them myself.
I get how that is. All right, who's next?
I guess I'll go next. Yep, I guess I'll go next. Save the best for last, right, Dimitri?
Yeah, right.
Well, I too had family that was way into music. My brother would. I'd go upstairs and I'd listen to him play "Dream On." I didn't know what it was at first. I would hear him play "Dream On" and sing it, and on acoustic guitar. So that was my introduction to music. And of course, since this is a room 420, there was a funny smell coming from his room that I found out what it was later on. So anyhow, that's another story. But he inspired me to play guitar, and I started getting into a lot of classic rock. My parents were always into Elvis. We had this one of those big old time record players, and they would play stuff from like the 50s and 60s or 40s, like Patsy Cline. They play Elvis, so a lot of my melody probably comes from listening to a lot of those. But I was also in band growing up, so I played the trumpet, cornet, but it was like a trumpet. And then so I started playing that. I was in choir, I think a year or two. But then when I hit middle school, and I was always big into the heavy metal, to like the big four: Megadeth, Metallica, Slayer, and Anthrax. And Megadeth was always my favorite. So when I heard the Rust in Peace album, When I first heard it, a buddy of mine was staying the night. I shut it off. I'm like, dude, you're gonna be on your own. I listened to that album front to back, and I'm like, I gotta play guitar. So I started playing, and then started writing music pretty fast right away too. So I sort of put the cornet to the wayside, and I'm like, yeah, this is my instrument. So and I stuck myself in a room for a couple years, took lessons for a couple years, but then after a while, the guy I took lessons off of moved out to California, and then he's like, "Oh, you're on your own. I can't really teach you anything else. You can kind of learn stuff." And he didn't have to write stuff down for me after a while because that's one part of my memory that does not fail me is learning songs and remembering them as long as I play them enough. So, yep, that's kind of where my story is, and I've been in bands over the years, and here we are.
Hell yeah.
Steve, could you play cornet now if you picked it up? Could you?
You know, I probably could. I could probably remember the notes. I'd have to go through it a little bit. I've actually thought about picking one up and trying to see how I could play it. But the one that I had, I think, when I was in college, I left it, I think, at a storage unit, and the storage unit got demolished. So I think I left a handful of stuff up there that just got demolished. So.
There will be a trumpet solo in the next Rising Fall song.
Yep.
Oh, great. I should have kept my mouth shut.
Oh, hell yeah. We love that. We love that. High school band is always a great place to make a lot of memories. This one time at band camp.
Yeah. Well, I was actually in band in elementary school and middle school. I started playing guitar in junior high, so I kind of switched instruments, and I completely blocked out playing the trumpet at that part. So I
That
went
makes sense.
with guitar. So I didn't even actually. John tried to get me to join the jazz band at one time, and I was like, I wasn't as open minded back then. I'm like, no, this ain't metal.
Oh, shit. Yeah, and I understand the craving for metal. I totally understand that. But without further ado, let's get into the last of you three and see what Dimitri's got.
So my mom, she played in piano and accordion, and my dad had played violin back in the day. But I started getting into music when my dad kind of introduced me to his old rock and roll albums: Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis, Big Bopper, Bill Haley and the Comets. All that old school rock and roll where the origin started, and kind of stuck with me as a kid. And then I took violin lessons. It was an orchestra in grammar school or whatever, a long time ago. So I started out with the 4 strings on the violin, didn't stick with the violin because I was didn't really entice me. But as the 80s went through and MTV and music and all these bands started coming out, Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses, Def Leppard, AC/DC, and even the heavier stuff, and what was being played on the radio, that really just kind of grabbed my ear, and kind of fell in love with metal and hard rock, and grew from there. And then started playing bass, really because of Metallica and Cliff Burton, and that was a long time ago, but that's what got me started on that. But music was the seed was sown, or it's planted, I should say, a long time ago, and just kind of grew and evolved in absorbing all the different kind of music. I mean, not just metal and rock, but even the pop, old school rap, hip hop, songs that were being played on the radio, all over the radio, FM radio, and MTV was huge. So you absorbed it all, and then it just came to want to play an instrument. I wanted to play drums, as everyone in the band knows. I'm a failed drummer, but got with bass, and just fell in love with bass, and started getting into Sabbath and Maiden, Megadeth, Metallica, all those bands, and just really kind of helped me evolve play as a bass player. So that's the short story.
Hell yeah. I love getting all of the dirt on everybody here. And speaking of dirt, Mr. Steve and Mr. Dimitri, I do believe you were both in a band called High Speed Dirt.
That is correct.
That's the rumor? Is that fake news? Or is that real? That's real.
Well, my question is, I know that both of you were in that
Yeah.
band, but my question is, were you guys in that band at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the funny story, So I graduated college in I won't give a year, but and I wasn't in the Chicago scene, music scene at all, so I wanted to kind of get out there and see what was going on and start meeting people. And I went to go see this band, the Megadeth tribute band called High Speed Dirt. It was at Tailgaters. Remember Steve in Lamont or whatever it was? I think Winterkill or
Sidetracked or Sean Cayley's or something.
what did I say?
You said tailgaters.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, Sidetracked. Tailgaters is the other one that's out there now. No, it was Sidetracked next to Sean Cayley's,
Yeah.
and I was watching this band High Speed Dirt, and I caught about maybe half their set, and I was like, wow, man, these guys sound just like Megadeth, and it'd be awesome to like play up on stage with them. And that was in July of the summer. And a couple months, caught myself. A couple months later, I went to a music store by my house and up in Tinley Park, and I saw back in the day they used to have these sheets, and they had like little tabs on there, and guitarist wanted, drummer wanted, vocalist wanted, and they had these little tabs with someone's name and phone number on it. So I saw this flyer. It said bass player and lead guitar player wanted for High Speed Dirt, Megadeth tribute band. So I took the tab off, went home. I called the number, which was Angelo, the drummer at the time. I left him a message. I said, hey man, call me back, I'm interested. He called me back. He said, yeah man, come on out like on a Tuesday or whatever it was. I said, cool. We jammed about 6 or 7 songs, and he's like, do you want the gig? And I said, yeah. And at that time, we had another guitar player come out the same day to audition with Ray, and Ray got the gig too. So High Speed Dirt lost their one guitar player and bass player, and then within a couple months, I joined, and then Ray had joined, and that was it. And that's how Steve and I met and played on and off over the past how many years. And then because of all that and just, playing, this band came about, which I'm sure you probably ask how it did, and I'll have Steve talk about it. But yeah, we played the Megadeth thing, man, and it was cool. And we got to meet Megadeth a few times, and we knew some people that were in the camp, and got the backstage, got the autographs, got to meet Mustaine and Ellison, and I think Petrelli at the time, DeGrasso. Had our banner signed, and yeah, it was cool. We met a lot of people during that period, which was great that we were still friends with now. And it's kind of come, I say full circle, but it's just back when we started, or when we were playing, we met a lot of people, and a lot of those people today are still around and we're friends with, and they get to come out and see us play, and it's always great. It's always great to see friends and old friends we haven't seen in a while because of the relationships we formed back in the day with the High Speed Dirt band.
Hell yeah, absolutely. So now my next question did High Speed Dirt become before And Justice for All, or was that after?
And Justice for All was after.
Okay.
High Speed Dirt was before, and Justice for All was. We had tried doing something that was, one of the guys that was playing guitar in High Speed Dirt, and he actually played drums. A guy by the name of John Cronenberger, who's a local legend. He's manager of the Rock Spot in Chicago, and he also has. He was in a band called The Waking for a moment,
Yep.
But he had the idea of putting together a Metallica tribute band with 3 guitar players, and we had done that, and the idea was to play for their 30th anniversary of Injustice for All.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was the day that we were trying to do that, I ended up I had a medical family emergency, so we couldn't play on that date. So, but we did do a handful of gigs, and we were around probably for about a good 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
Right around the late 2010s.
That band was, it was formed like, this is how, when you talk about musicians and how incestuous it is with like the local scene, John, was he in the band, Steve, before I joined for a while playing guitar?
What's that, Justice or High Speed Dirt?
No, High Speed Dirt, John Cronenberger.
Cronenberger, well, funny thing, Ray had joined the band, and the first gig he was supposed to play, he had broken his collarbone.
I know that. But
Manchild and Cronenberger fill in. So Cronenberger was in the band initially, When
No.
I tried out for High Speed
Oh,
Dirt, he was the other guitar player,
yeah,
but then apparently something happened and he ducked out for a bit. But then later on, he came back in to help us out when we were kind of
yeah.
short guitar players.
Well, so John, so real quick, not to go off topic. John was in High Speed Dirt at one point, and then he wasn't. And then our guitar player had got injured after I joined, and our guitar player Ray. Ray got injured. John came back to fill in along with another guitar player. They were swapping back and forth. John went on to form this band called Awaking, and then they were an original band, and I had filled in on bass for a couple shows with those guys. John actually was back in High Speed Dirt to fill in for our drummer Angelo, who was in the hospital at one point. Um, and then so he did drums and guitar, and he was in the band before I was, and then he was in the band with me and with Steve, and then an original band. I was jamming with him, and then this And Justice for All tribute. When John said, "Hey, I want to put together a thing," and he asked myself and Steve, um, we said, "Yeah," and we kind of just did. We did a few shows, and it wasn't anything serious. I mean, we were out there, and it was fun. We may do a couple more down the road just for shits and giggles, but that was long, long time ago when we first met, and we're still friends today. Kind of to go back what I was saying before, and everyone tries to help each other out no matter what. So it's really cool, and not that I want anything to happen to anybody in the band. If someone says they get injured or something, they can't do it, but we know people who are friends of ours that would probably step in just to help us out. So it's really cool to see all that kind of camaraderie.
For sure, for sure.
That makes
My
some
head
sense.
is spinning right now.
Yeah, mine is too. Can we go to commercial?
Yeah.
So,
Take a message from our
I'll give you two a little break. I've been harping on
Yeah.
you guys for a minute. I'm gonna go ahead. Well, I'm gonna say you guys are acting this out really well. I mean, like, I would almost say that this is theater, like almost like the dark theater. So, Miss KK, could you tell me about that?
You have done your homework there, Sonny B. I have to say, you're really pulling out some some old names here. So yeah, the Dark Theater actually, I will tell you, it was a fantastic time in my life. The Dark Theater was a gothic metal industrial band that was fronted by a real life vampire. So that was what the Dark Theater was. And I recorded in the studio of the same studio that this vampire, I'm going to say vampire with quotes, recorded his stuff in as well. And he did all of the tracks usually himself. He was a great guitar player, great vocalist, great songwriter too, but did all of the instruments himself. And he, just being in the studio, sometimes you hear other people's tracks, and I was singing on mine and whatnot, and he wanted me to actually sing on his stuff. So that's how we connected in the first place. And since then, we had a great friendship. He wanted to form a real band. We used to rehearse in the city here, and Ministry rehearsed right next to us while we were doing it. It was pretty cool. They wanted to play out gigs and all that. So I was the backing keyboard vocalist to the Dark Theater. We played out in Europe a couple times, out in the UK. We played out in LA. We toured here locally at a lot of like industrial goth clubs. And I had a blast. I mean, I still remember everything. I mean, I was young. I got to play out in Europe at a very early age, and that was awesome. I can't say like it really taught me a lot about being in a band, and I was only a backing vocalist at the time, and I always said I will never want to be out in front of a band. I find it too like nerve-wracking. I'm like, I don't think I can ever front a band. I just want to stay behind in my little comfort zone in doing keyboards and backing vocals. Well, obviously that didn't happen, and I'm out in front, and I love it that just as much too. So, but yeah, it was quite a trip. We were on a lot of Chicago talk shows too because of the vampire tie-in, and Our video, we did a couple music videos. I think if you tried to find it now, they're so grainy because nothing was in HD or shot on a phone. It was all film. And we even had one video where I attended the wedding of the singer and he got married in a cemetery. And we did a music video for that song in the cemetery
That's
while they're getting
badass.
married and other people are having funerals. And talk about a cringe-worthy moment. Yeah, that was really strange.
Yeah, I could imagine. Now, I have to ask, if I was to have someone hope that they would rain coconuts on your pitiful city, who would that be? Do you guys have a clue? Maybe the flying hamsters of doom?
Oh,
There's
yes.
You
Those
are batting
demonic
1,000.
rodents.
Batting 1,000 tonight, my friend. Hall of Fame right here. Do your homework and throw these curveballs out there.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
love it. I love it actually.
Oh, don't
because
worry, Steve. I'll be getting to you in just a second.
Don't worry, Steve.
I
I'm
have a
ready to see
feeling
what
there's
you
going to
got.
be some
You're-
cryptic
Bring it on. Bring it on.
answers too.
Don't worry. Your criminal history will be brought up. It'll be very cryptic.
Ah.
Yeah, the flying hamsters of doom. Again, it goes back to everybody knows everyone, at least in Chicago. And
Yeah.
I was a solo performer, and I was doing a big radio push at the time. And I had no band. It was all done in the studio. And I got some radio station gigs playing out. And I said, wow, I can't perform just me. I need to put a band together really quick. So held auditions with my producer and we got a backing band and we were like, well, it just can't be KK because I went by KK. That was my solo performance name. That was what everyone knew me on the radio as KK. I'm like, we need a backing band name. So I'm like, we need something fun. And Dimitri, you want to take it away?
I always just spitballing, and I had seen something where it was something about flying hamsters of doom or rain coconuts on your pitiful city. So I was like, why don't we just call it KK and the Flying Hamsters of Doom as a joke? Because I thought it was really stupid, to be honest with you. And apparently I shouldn't have said that because everyone thought it was the greatest thing. And like, yes, we're going to go with it. And I'm like, no, we can't. And they all voted on it. And we went with KK and the Flying Hamsters of Doom. And it was tough to explain to people what our band name was and why did we choose that name. And but it stuck, and we had the little hamster mascot with the sticker and the wings, and
Oh, he was spiked out. He had piercings in his tongue. I mean, we always thought, man, we need to hire like somebody in a costume, like to go out there like Eddie for Iron Maiden. We need the hamster to actually go out during our performance.
That would be awesome.
The thing is that it's like you think it's dumb or whatever. You think it's like, okay, it's not, it's just a joke. And then actually people liked it.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, well, they perceive it differently.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll roll with it. And, we did. And then, eventually we had shortened it to FHOD and all that stuff. But,
and
yeah,
everyone was like, well, what does that stand for? We're like, Flying Hamsters of Doom. And we're like, and
Well-
everyone's like, that's so awesome.
That's
Funny-
awesome. I do love that.
funny story. Today I had to go visit a supplier of ours at my old job, and I was talking to one of my guys I used to know, my friends, and I was telling him like, well, he's asking how the band is doing and stuff like that, and I said, yeah, we just had we were gigs and WGN, and he's like, oh, you're famous. He goes, you and the rest of the members from the Temple of Doom. And I'm like, no, with the Hamsters of Doom. Like, but he kind of remembered it a little bit, so it stuck in his mind. Except, that was an Indiana Jones reference he threw out there, not who we were. But I was like, yeah, Hamsters of Doom. Like, but it was cool. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, we had a good time.
Hell yeah. So, Steve, I haven't been talking to you as much down there, so I gotta ask you, of these three bands, which one is your favorite? We got Cryptic Oath, 101 Proof, or Sandblasted Skin. Which one of those
Oh,
three?
you know what? I think I like each of them for different reasons. I like 101 Proof. I like actually being just a guitar player. I do realize that having the ability to sing while I'm playing is a gift, so I use it when I can. 101 Proof, I think, was the first band in the sequence. So 101 Proof was pretty cool. We did that for probably about a good 6 years. Played a lot of cool gigs, but most of them were around town. Um, Cryptic Oath kind of came in after that. That was it was kind of cool because it was like probably the craziest shit I'd ever written. So like death metal, and I was singing, and I think over the years in that band, my voice was kind of developing a little bit more in that style, but then I kind of like stuff just fell apart. But then I was tapped at one point to do the Sandblasted Skin, and I liked that because we did some out of town shows. But I kind of prefer, like Kim had said before, she doesn't like being the main singer or whatever, but I like being able to play guitar and not be stuck on the mic all the time, because I like running around like a chicken with my head cut off when I'm playing. It's fun, and I like playing to the crowd. So with Cryptic Oath, I couldn't do that very much. However, a lot of people were pretty impressed by my ability to sing and play shit that my other guitar player and I in that band would come up with, and it was just it was unreal. Um, Trivia: do you know what that band was called before it was called Cryptic Oath?
Ah, I think you got me there. I think you got me
Okay,
there.
well, that's a little bit of a lesser known fact. We were actually originally called Penchant for Chaos,
Oh,
but because of that name, we got tired of having to explain what that meant. Because penchant for like a real desire for just like a lot of chaotic riffs, and that kind of I don't know, it didn't sit right, and we had to keep explaining ourselves, so we kind of switched our names. But we kind of had a few different members because we had trouble keeping drummers, and we had a couple different bass players. It was basically me and the other guitar player, because he and I grew up together. So as far as playing it with another guitar player, he was probably my favorite guitar player to play with, just because we would challenge each other. Um, as far as like how complex we could do that. But now with all the headbanging and 101 Proof and Cryptic Oath, I was starting to have a lot of nerve issues, so I couldn't really do that anymore. So I'm just happy that I can still play. But yeah, so I would say I like them all for their own reason. We didn't really do a whole lot with Cryptic Oath. We were playing some shows. We had some cool shows, but it was kind of um, it's kind of a thing where you kind of okay, um, you got to have everybody working towards the goal, not just one or two people. So, and I mean, great people, but great musicians, but it's just sometimes we didn't really know what we were doing, to be honest. So, with 101 Proof, I never handled a lot of stuff with that, but come on, right here,
oh yeah.
that's where that's all about. That's one of my biggest influences, and some of the techniques that he used on guitar is stuff that I still try to do every once in a while, but I try to make it my own. But Cryptic Oath was just like, let's just slap shit on the wall and see what happens, and let's be as crazy as we can, and it was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. So I've gotten to know a little bit about some of your guys' history with bands a little bit. So of all the bands you guys have been in, individually, I want to know what your guys' favorite story from any show might have been. Like from any band, could have been at any point in time. What is your favorite moment that happened? It could be like the wildest anything.
Well, I mean, there's a lot, but like the wildest. Well, honestly, like when we played Punk in the Corn, and there was a lot of build up to that, and with so many different bands, and you're communicating with these bands, and you're on, listening to these stations and independent, and you got people from all over the country, and you're talking to them. When we went to Punk and the Corn, and you probably, I mean, obviously being there, you may have experienced this too, but you met all these people, and for the first time, even though you may have been talking to them, and I know Kim has been obviously talking to a lot of these people, which has helped tremendously, especially as far as getting shows and making connections. But when you met everybody, it was kind of like, oh, it was kind of like a family almost. It was like a family environment, like old friends you haven't seen in a while. But when we played, we played the first night, it was the first night. There were people that were there, and they knew the songs and they knew the lyrics, and it was wild because we were kind of a newer band, and we played, some shows, and you don't see that often. And we had that before with like FHOD, and obviously with the Megadeth High Speed, there are people know the lyrics. But when you met people for the first time that you've never met, and they obviously pay attention to your band, and they knew the lyrics, and they were singing the lyrics back to you when you were playing, like, to me, that was like, oh, holy shit. I'm like, this is really cool. I mean, there's been a lot of crazy stories, and we can go on and that are, yeah, it's cool, but like, to me, that was wild. Like, that was awesome. I felt like it was like, holy cow, we're reaching out to people we've never met before, and it's not on a local scene. They're from Florida, Georgia, Colorado, wherever. I mean, Australia. I mean, shit. The guys from Trickshot and KTO, and then you had Sangria Furlough, and I mean, it was just wild. And everybody there knew the lyrics to the other bands as well, not just us. So it was weird, man. It was like surreal. It was like you kind of knew these bands, but you kind of didn't, and you met everybody, and everyone was cool. And then all of a sudden, bands are playing, and people are singing the lyrics, and it's like, it was like wow. It was really cool. It was really cool. So that was a big moment for me. I mean, there's been plenty, but that was, I think, the most impactful.
That's beautiful, man. I'm really looking forward to when I finally, because I can just imagine like the pressure it feels on your chest whenever you hear all of those words getting thrown back at you that you once threw down on a piece of paper.
Oh, I mean, look at like big bands like AC/DC, Metallica, and Kiss, and you see these concerts on TV where you got 80,000 people singing the lyrics back to you, and you don't even know the impact, like how would it sound like on stage, I mean, that's got to be, blow your mind. And here,
Yeah.
we had a bunch of people singing our lyrics and singing the lyrics to other bands as well. So yeah, that's a feeling that hopefully everyone can experience. I mean, trying to branch out where you get thousands of people or even hundreds or whatever, but it's wild, man. It's a wild experience. So
Absolutely.
Cool,
Absolutely. All right, who's next?
I guess I'll go, since I'm already unmuted. I kind of echo that in one way. I don't want to kind of like, say that's the same moment, but I mean, I kind of have the same feeling about the Punk and the Corn, because that was a lot of fun. And it's just like, the one day we played, I felt more rushed, but then the second day we were just hanging out all day, hanging out with the guys in Sangria and the guys in Trickshot, and then we ended up just meeting a lot of people through that. But just sometimes just it's some of the crazy stage antics. Because I have people sometimes would mess with me when I'm playing guitar or whatever, and I got to keep going through it or whatever. Sometimes I had to take a leak so bad, and there was one show I remember with 101 Proof that we were at Bourbon Street. It's a place in Marionette Park. It's a pretty big place, and I just stepped out the back, opened the door, and away I went. And then there was another time I played a place called Penny Road, and I'm sitting there playing This Love, and I go in the bathroom, and then I'm in a at a urinal next to this dude, and he's like, "Dude, aren't you supposed to be playing?" I'm like, "I'm still playing," and I was just like, whatever, just sometimes you can't hold it, and I don't know, it's just
Okay.
you try to do that pre-show bathroom break, but it doesn't always work. But just it's some fun stuff, and just trying to do something different, and where it's respectful, to where you don't get arrested or anything. So
we can tell the story about the katana swords later if you want.
You
Yeah,
have
oh,
piqued my interest.
Anyway, carrying on. Next one.
Yeah. Yes.
Wait, I want to hear about the katana swords.
So, all right, when we played in high speed dirt back in the day, I swear to God, after every show, like a fight broke out. And no matter where we were at, something happened. There was always drunk people, just a fight broke out. This was at Champs, Steve. Remember this?
Yeah, good old days. The old
Yeah.
champs.
So, yeah, old Champs. So we get done playing the show, and fight broke out in the bar. We're breaking down our gear. It gets carried out in the parking lot. So we're breaking down, and I was going to go outside, and the owner's like, no one's going outside. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, cops are on their way. Okay. So we're looking out the window, and the club's there, in the parking lot, and across the street, which was, I think it was 87th Street, across the street's like another parking lot. And we see these two guys walking who were at the club, and we know who they were, friends of ours, that kind of stuff. They're walking across the street, and each guy's got something in their hand. And I remember sitting there, and I'm like, thought they had like baseball bats, like they were gonna, ready to throw down and break some windows. And they start coming across the street, and these guys were, I think they were karate, jujitsu guys or whatever. They had katana swords, and they were ready to fuck some shit up. And we're like, holy Christ. And thankfully the cops came and took care of that situation, but they weren't letting anybody go out into the parking lot because these guys had swords. They were coming to cause some damage, and thankfully they didn't. But that was an interesting evening. I mean, we eventually got our stuff moved out of there, but that was the first time we've had a katana sword. So if you come to our shows and you bring a katana sword, please check it in at the door to avoid injury. But
This is just a prop. It's an inside
inside
joke.
Nowadays, I think people are more calm, but back then, man, people were like insane, especially when it came to like. I remember we played with an Anthrax tribute, and Al, some guy was throwing shit at him or saying shit.
Did
He jumped
someone
off stage.
also show up with an axe one time in the parking lot?
No, that was the katana swords.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, but Al
No, the
jumped
next
off.
story was a college story of mine.
Al,
The axe, the axe.
I just remember in the middle of Among the Living set, the old Among the Living, Al was an Anthrax tribute. Al jumped off stage and started beating the shit out of this guy because he did something. I was like, wow, that was cool. Yeah, there's, I mean, even in FHOD, we had the bar fights, the chair. Yeah, seen it all.
I think that witnessing being a part of a bar fight, I think that's like every band's like initiation to like, oh shit, welcome to being a band.
The funny thing, the bar fight was between the employees.
Staff.
It wasn't even the patrons. It was the employees.
Yeah, it was the staff. They're fighting with each other.
Oh my god, I could
They're
not.
throwing chairs.
They're throwing
what?
chairs, and luckily we got our gear out right away. But the only thing I remember a lot from that was, I think one of the guys had somebody in a headlock like this,
Yeah.
and he actually opened the door for us to get out. He goes, "You guys come back here again anytime. You guys are welcome here anytime." And he's like,
No.
holding somebody while he's doing it.
No,
It
no
was
thanks.
crazy.
That's wild, man.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Well, Miss KK, what is yours? You haven't got to go yet.
So there, I'll just ditto Dimitri and Steve too. Like at least me as a lyricist, when doing the Punk and the Corn song, it's a performance and everyone's singing the lyrics to your song, and I don't know if half of them were right or not, if they bothered to look, but I know they were singing it, and it was great to hear that back at you. That was wonderful. The other thing that I think might have been one of my most memorable is in FHOD, we opened up for Warrant, and it was nice to have that large of a crowd. Like, I've never played a show where like they're actually escorting you to the stage with flashlights in hands, like you're going through like a whole, we had to go through the front. There was no backstage area because the stage was out in the front. and they're escorting us, and we're going down the aisle, and it's packed, and just to play in front of that many people, that was a highlight of mine.
Where
That's
was that at?
badass.
That was in, where was that?
Venue.
In South,
Robinson,
Robinson,
Illinois.
Yep.
Played there a few times, and
They had like a lot of nationals there, it was a bowling alley on one side and a stage on the other side. So
remember,
it was, yeah.
remember Wild Bill? Wild Bill got a tattoo of the Hamsters of Doom on his arm.
He did. He got a tattoo of our hamster logo on him.
I think I got a picture of him somewhere. That Wild Bill.
And somebody baked Dimitri a Southern Comfort cake and brought it to the gig too. She goes, "I made you a homemade goodie." I mean, like that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Signed a few nipples that
Oh,
weekend.
there was a lot of chest signing. Yep, at that venue.
Oh, that's great. I'm sorry. It sucks I didn't get to bring you guys' drum around. It sucks that John couldn't be here. But I will go ahead and ask a question to you guys on behalf of making sure that I do include him on here.
Yeah.
So my question for you guys, which band was he with when you first met him? Was he with Epitaph? Was he with J Rock Aleko or the Glove Side?
He actually, the J Rock Aleko on the Glove Side is his electronic moniker. He did a lot of DJing for a while. The Epitaph band is a band that I was in with him.
Oh,
So
that one wasn't
he
on my
and I-
record, so that's news to me. Thank you for telling me about that one.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, we probably changed our names a few times. I think we were first Eternal Hostage. We were like Epitaph. Then we changed our name to Avalon, and we had changed our name a few times. But we had put out a couple releases way back in the day, and we played some pretty cool shows. Played the Riviera in Chicago. We played the Metro. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, he was not really in anything when we started. When we got together and we formed, he and I had just started jamming because he and I went way back, and I think he was trying, either him or one of the other members in that was trying to get it back together and do a few shows, but I think I just didn't have the time, and then we started jamming again, and it just kind of, that's how this project kind of came about. Well, yeah, I don't think he was doing anything solid. He was just getting back into playing drumming, into drumming after a hiatus, and that's when we started getting together. And then Cryptic Oath was kind of done, and I kind of wanted to do something else with originals, and then we just kind of came in. How we are.
Hell
I don't know if
yeah.
there's how the band formed or whatever or not, but that would be like the next, a segue into that.
Yeah. So I didn't get I just kind of tried my best. I don't know like too much in detail. I just know where you guys were at certain points in time. So I was going to have you guys expand on those points in time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I didn't really get to ask him the questions I had lined out for him, but that's completely okay. I really hope that everything is going good, and I hope he's doing all right, and I hope he's having a great night. And what I want to know now, though, is what do you guys got coming up next? What's
Oh,
in it for
boy.
the future of the Rising Fall?
Oh boy. Well, immediately we're going to be in the studio in a couple weeks. We're actually going to be recording a couple tunes, hoping for a late March, early April release for one of them. We've performed it live, but we just haven't actually got the recording done. And another one we're just finishing writing up. So we're not sure which one we're going to release first, but they're both going to be quite different from each other. Yeah, I mean, as you're familiar with our music, no two songs sound pretty much the same. We kind of work with all different genres. Some are heavier than others, some fast, some slow. So that's the immediate. Our gigging has pretty much got booked now from April through September every month. We're going to be playing shows. And a lot of them are out of state and out of country. So, so
Hell
we've got
yeah.
a lot on our plate. We'll be hitting Wisconsin, Milwaukee area, Madison, um, Vancouver Island, uh, Nashville,
Nashville.
couple local shows here. So yeah, it's going to be
Wisconsin.
quite a busy summer for us.
Hell yeah. I'm glad to hear that you guys got good things coming. Um,
Yeah.
so,
One.
so individually, I want to know which one of these five songs is your guys' favorite. Hold on, let me get my list up here. We got Breaking the Chain, Hell on My Chest, I Surrender, Artificial, Degeneration, and Becoming My Everything. Which one of those songs is your guys' favorite?
I'll go first. I surrender. I surrender is my favorite. It's just that song. I wrote that like on piano way back when, so it's just got a meaning for me that it was something that I felt this song had a lot of great, you know, drama, dynamics. It was epic, and I was glad that, when I heard the final result with Steve and Dimitri and John and what they did with the song, it was like, it just, I don't know. It's one of those songs that I feel like I just love the epicness of that song. It's not my favorite to play live, but it's my favorite song.
Hell yeah. That one is a really good one. I was checking out all the songs before I hopped on the stream, and I personally really like Artificial Degeneration.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's a song that it's fun to play live. It's got just a kind of energy to it. So I would say favorite song to play live would be that one. Um, but like I Surrender, it's got a lot of dynamics in there, a lot of emotion, and then when we were recording that, Steve's solo came out of nowhere, and it was very like David Gilmour-ish, and it just added like so much more to the song. So I would say that's maybe my favorite, but I like the hard rock drive, so Artificial is up there. It's a little bit of a tie, but Artificial to play live is fun, and I Surrender live is more of kind of like an emotional type of song and getting people into it. And Steve's guitar gently weeps when he plays the solo. George Harrison.
Guitar tone, neck pickup on that Les Paul there.
When it's in tune.
Yeah, all right. We won't talk about that.
All right.
All right. I guess it's my turn. Yeah, had a mishap with the guitar tuning for the last show on that song.
Well, for you.
Yeah, I Surrender. That's a good song. I kind of like it live. Yeah, it's epic. It's that big guitar solo at the end is pretty cool. And that's most of the song. I can kind of relax because it's not really very taxing on me playing wise, and it'd be a good song to warm up to. Artificial is a good song. There was a lot of empty space in there, so I decided to throw a shit ton of guitar solos in there because I started doing it, and then nobody stopped me. So I'm like, all right, keep it going, keep it going. All right, let's add another one. Let's add another one. So, and that kind of was pretty cool. And in the studio, like that last part before the last chorus, it's really weird. Like I just kind of like pulled that part out my ass. So I was like, because I know Dimitri's like, well, let's do this little tapping thing, and we never like sat down and figured it out together. So he's like, well, I'm just gonna do this. I'm like, all right. And so then I'm like, I had the wah there, so I took the wah, did a little tapping, and I thought it sounded cool. I thought it was kind of cheesy, but it fit. But I would probably say my favorite song to play might be, or my favorite song out of those might be Breaking the Chain. Only because that was the first one that I wrote in the new project. John and I had actually, we were messing around with it even before we had talked to Kim and Dimitri about, coming along with the project, and it was just it's a driving song. It's kind of it's got a lot of different things in there. It's got the no rhythm guitar underneath the solo. It's
Yeah.
got wah in there. It's got you
Riff.
know a riff, driving riff, and the main hook was pretty cool. It's like that kind of came out of nowhere. Um, I actually came out of Dimitri. He's like, "Hey, let's check this out or something. Play something like this," and it's just like we just fed ideas off each other, and
Yeah.
it well, but nice and driving. A lot of 16th notes. I actually tabbed that song out recently, and I was like kind of pissed but happy because I was like, I hate analyzing my guitar playing now because it's just crazy the way it. I don't think about it. I just play because with Cryptic Oath, I used to tab everything out, so I knew exactly what I'm doing. But with this band, well, partially because it was another guitar player, so we wanted to know exactly what we were playing, where we were playing it. But here, being the only guitar player, I just have to make sure I play it consistently. So then, anyway, anyhow, yeah, Breaking the Chain would be my favorite out of those. But each one has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
I know Hell of My Best. I love the main riff. I just came up with it one day, and I like, dude, check this out. I showed everybody, and they're like, oh yeah, that's a song.
That riff. I mean, listen to the riff, and it's got a Megadeth influence to it, which is cool because it's like you just hear it. It's got that Mustaine style riff to it, and it works. And it's nothing like super shreddy, but the solo's fucking great, and that song's great. And even like Black Horse, one of the last one, what was the last one we released? It's more up tempo, but that gets really good reaction from the people, and it's a driving song, and there's there's a story behind it, obviously, but the guitar solo is really good, and just the groove and solid drumming and whatnot. So that's been a really good song we played live. I don't, for a reaction from the crowd. So it all depends, but they're like children. You love them all. You just sometimes you love one a little bit more than the other because the other one acted up or something like that. But
Yeah,
I don't even.
the other ones.
I'm just talking out of my ass.
Oh, shit. Well, I am going to say a little bit of a slogan, and I want you guys to each individually tell me what its relevance to you is, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, can't keep us down.
So true. Everybody has their own individual things that happen to them in life, and being a veteran myself, I kind of just learned that shit's gonna happen. You gotta learn what makes you who you are. Is you gotta learn how to deal with it and come back from that, because otherwise, you have no drive, no desire or will, and when you lose that, what else do you have? So it's just always think that no matter how shitty something can get, it can always get better, it can always be worse. So can't keep us down. So I just think that it's a matter of perseverance and just pushing through when shit gets tough, and then you'll get through it someday. Hopefully sooner than later.
I mean, you get kicked in the nuts and whatnot in life, and you face challenges. You gotta keep going and look towards the positive and say, screw it. We got to rise above it, And I mean, you can feel sorry for yourself or whatever. And obviously, people go through hard times, but you have to have that mentality where it's like you're down and out, or you're hurt, or something happens. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna make it through, and things are gonna get better. So it's a mental thing, but I think everyone's just got to, the way the world is now, you just got to kind of look forward and try and better things in your better yourself and better, I don't know. I can't even know what I'm trying to say. It's a positive thing. Come out in the head and look to the future and just try and, rise above it all.
Absolutely.
Mine is more about the industry. It's really for the haters and for the people
Mm.
who are constantly, saying no to you. You're getting rejected in on sh- shows, you're getting rejected listeners, it's just everything, you know. I'm sure there's haters out there too. It's just, to me, it's you're I don't care what you say. We're still going to like keep pursuing and keep striving to be the rising fall and get better and better. And it's like we're not going to hear no. And we're going to hear no for a while until we won't. So it's really me, it's more the industry to me. Being in this music industry about can't keep us down from it, because we all know as independent artists, it's so tough out there. So it's like you got to keep your head above water, and sometimes you're going to get right down to the very bottom, but if you just rise above the very the very bottom, and take baby steps, you never know what could happen.
And believe in yourself
Yep.
Absolutely, I
and
agree.
surround yourself with people who are like-minded and
Yes.
support you and you support them. I mean, that's you're you're a guitar player. You've been in the industry. You've seen it at shows and with other bands and clubs and stuff like that. There's the good, bad, and the ugly. So you're gonna get screwed at a show. You're gonna get um, you know bands don't want to play with you or whatever the case is, or someone's like, oh yeah, whatever, this band sucks. Forget it, man. Just tune out all the extra noise and just go forward and be with people and work with people that are like-minded and support each other, because all that extra stuff is just going to bring you down if it gets to your head, and nobody wants that. And that's just not just music. I mean, that's just in life in general. But you learn. You say, fuck it. Just say fuck it. That's all you got to do. And just say, I'm moving forward. I'm doing this, and whatever anyone says, fuck it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
everybody always has a comment. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you know, I always like to say, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and they all stink.
You stink.
So,
Absolutely. And that's like no two musicians are ever going to have the exact same upcoming and go through the exact same things as a musician. So it's like it's horrible to compare yourself to somebody because they're not you, and pacing is everything. So you just kind of got to go at your own pace, and if people aren't happy with where you're at now, you're able to laugh at them in 15 years when you're at where you want to be at, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Man, I wish I would have been nice to you back then." I mean, like that's just kind of how it goes.
Musicians suck. We all suck.
We're all garbage. I mean,
We
like,
are.
everybody I've watched is really good, but I mean, like, damn, I'm just nowhere near where I want to be at.
We all
It's like,
suck.
I watch these people on the internet and they're ripping these solos and they're just, like, effortlessly just shredding up and down the guitar, and I'm like, I'm trash can. Like,
Yeah, but you know what? But someone, I can't remember who it was. I heard
use it
someone.
as inspiration.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see, and there's no not knocking any of those people, but you can sit in your bedroom and you can record yourself and rip a solo and do all this other stuff, which is fine. But what else? I mean, hopefully that person is in a band, or they teach music, or they're doing something else. It's like, because you can play so technical or so great, you make a video. It's like, okay, but you're not out there playing live. So I'm not saying that's the case with a lot of these players, because I mean, there's some really cool. I've seen, follow a few people that make these clips and stuff like that, but they're also in bands or they do something, in the music industry. But if you're just gonna go and like, okay, I'm gonna make a video, and like you're just like ripping a solo, and you look at it and you go, man, that guy's awesome. But if that guy never leaves his basement or his bedroom, it's like, well, it doesn't matter how good you are. No one's going to really know. I mean, you can make an internet sensation of yourself, but go out there and play live, man. Form a band. And I'm not saying that, like I said, it doesn't happen all the time, and I don't know the stories behind all these players, but it's nice to have that YouTube and you can see what other people do and it's inspiration, and maybe you can pick up a couple of things. But just because you're on the computer ripping out a solo or vocal melody, or you're the fastest drummer in the world, playing live is, AC/DC made a hell of a career for not being the most technical band in the world, and they're selling out 70,000 people at a stadium in Brazil and Argentina. So It's
Well, I
great to
mean
have talent,
that's
you
even
know.
like Green Day. I mean, like you look
Yeah,
at Green Day. I mean, most of their songs are power chords and just repeated rhythms, and that's nothing against Green Day, but I love
no,
Green Day. Green Day was one of my most favorite bands growing up. But like, it's not about the complexity always. It's more or
no.
less about the feeling.
So, so we're gonna. I want to just reverse this really quick since you're interviewing us. So, who are your influences on guitar? Like, who did you grow up with, and like, who do you draw inspiration from? Because I mean, we've seen you play. When we saw you guys, we saw you at Punk in the Corn, man. I mean, you were like you were the Nuno Betancourt of that event. You were all over and just playing with different bands and filling in and doing shit, and was like, who is this son of a bitch? Obviously, he's got some talent, but I mean, you are talented, man. So, like, who are some of your influences and players that you look up to?
So when I first started out, it was my dad. He had a BC Rich Warlock. I still got it on my wall right back here. Actually, I don't even know if it's on the guitar stand right back there. It's my favorite guitar he's ever used. And he had that and an Ibanez RG next to a crate amp downstairs in our basement at our old house in town. And he'd go down there and he'd play stuff like Metallica. He taught me how to play a whole bunch of Metallica songs. By the time I was like 5, I was playing like For Whom the Bell Tolls, Seek and Destroy, One.
Uh-huh.
I knew a whole bunch of Metallica songs by then, and then I started getting into Iron Maiden, and then first song I learned by Iron Maiden was Wasted Years, and then
Man,
uh, I think I'd have to dig on myself, but I know there's old videos of me like at 6 and 7 playing that on my little acoustic, and
nice.
then after that I really fell in love with Jimi Hendrix, and I loved the blues, and I actually just love music. Lately I've been on a huge Russian music kick, believe it or
Hmm.
not. But I just listen to listen to music, and that's just kind of where it started from. And I'd been playing guitar for a while, and then I took a break from like 7 to 13, and then one of my friends was like, "Yo, I know you know how to play guitar. Can you play this song?" And it was "Don't Fear the Reaper," Blue Oyster Cult.
Hmm.
And I picked up my acoustic guitar and I listened to the song for the first time, and I was like, "Huh, that sounds really easy." And I figured it out right there, and ended up doing it with a few more songs. But it was after a few people told me like, "Hey, did you look up a tutorial for that or anything?" I was like, "No, I just listened to it." And they were like, "You shouldn't be able to do that." I was like, "Why not? I did it." So that was kind of how I started out with music, and my dad was my huge inspiration. He when I was like 5, he had given me a book of scales and modes. He said, "If you learn it front to back, I'll give you $75." And I never got my $75. But it's okay, because I got way more valuable knowledge than the $75 could have ever attained me. And then that just kind of led into me playing more and more, and then I just kept learning songs. And then I was like 14, I bought my first guitar, and then I found out about a band called Polyphia. Got super heavy into math rock and alternative rock and stuff like that. Started learning how to play a bunch of stuff like that. And then I fell back into like metalcore sounds and heavy metal, so I got into like Lamb of God, and then got into like 2000s pop punk. I got super heavy into that, and just as my music grows, like I don't have a whole lot of stuff out right now because it's all getting remastered. But once I get all of my songs remastered, you can hear like the progression of like, okay, this was Linkin Park, okay, this was yeah, like you can definitely feel the progression of my music in the different bands I was influenced by throughout my music. But it's just a huge combination. If I had a top 3, it would probably be Jimi Hendrix, Tim Henson, and let's go with Ingwe.
That's cool, man. I mean, it's you have to listen to all types of music, and I mean that's makes you a better musician. You pigeonhole yourself into just metal or pop. It's like you have to listen to everything because there's you can take bits and pieces from every genre, every artist, no matter what year it is, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. And with us, I mean, that's the thing with us is that we've got all these different influences, and some of them, like, they overlay and they overlap and stuff. But John and Kim, I mean, Steve and I, we come from the metal. I mean, metal. I mean, it's like Slayer and the heavier stuff. But we also like a lot of other music. But like John, I think it was Kim or Steve said, he was a DJ or whatever.
He's a
We didn't
jazz.
know
He's very
he played
influenced by
he was
jazz. Yeah.
he played in South Africa.
Yeah.
He did a DJ thing in South Africa, and we're like, what? And he goes, yeah, man. He goes, promoter sent me out there. I played this club. It was like 5,000 people and all this shit. And we're like, what are you talking about? And he was telling us about it, and it was crazy. But he loves like Deftones, Run DMC,
Beastie Boys.
Beastie
Oh,
Boys.
Yeah.
I did a cover of a Beastie Boys song one time.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Beastie
John and I
Boys.
usually ride to and from gigs, and the last gig was what, Q Bar. On the way home, I actually put on the License to Ill album because I hadn't heard that in
Nice.
a while. So we listened to that all the way home.
But I mean, there's and when it came like Tori Amos, what
Kate Bush,
Kate Bush, and like Zeppelin. I mean,
Funk and
it's just
Nancy.
yeah, it's all these different influences. And like with myself and Steve, like we might like metal, but we also like individual guitar players and bass players that bring an influence to this band. So it's not like, yeah, this is going to sound like Slayer because here we go, just rip it out at 260. And that's the great thing about this band. And then we're all, we come up with kind of dynamics when it comes to writing songs, but like yourself, man, listening to as much music as you can and just absorbing it all and putting it in your head and having it come out your hands,
Each genre tends to give like a different perspective too. So
Yeah.
I've actually, from my profession, I'm way into like Latin music and stuff like that because I'm fluent in Spanish, obviously, because the guys in Sangria Furlough over at Punk and the Core, I was hanging out with them. We had our own little Spanish clique over there. But yeah, so I'm big into a lot of Spanish music too, like Juanes, or like Latin music. Juanes, Shakira, they're amazing musicians. I'm not a big fan of the reggaeton, but I can appreciate it. It's just it's more like Spanish rap or Spanish language rap, but it's good and stuff. But I can't sing that shit. That's way too fast. I know my Spanish was pretty good, but I'm like, oh.
I have a guitar player question for both of you. Do you guys play classical or flamenco guitar?
Yeah.
Do you really?
I have before, but I do not own one. That is something that I.
Oh, I do it on metal strings.
Oh, okay. So I want to get one with the nylon string.
I used to have a classical guitar with nylon strings on it, and then it was just I couldn't stand the feel of the nylon on my fingers. It felt too rubbery.
Yeah, it is an acquired taste. So a lot of times I go to Guitar Center, I might pick one up and like, I don't know. I think my wife's watching this too. So if I'm saying, yeah, I'll probably next time I go to Guitar Center pick up a classical guitar nylon string.
No, you can go pick one up and then smash it.
Oh yeah. I'll hide it at John's house or Kim, or give it to Kim to hide at her place.
So
No, that's cool. I mean, like the flamenco style, the Paco de Lucia and all those guys. I mean, that's awesome. I'd love to play that.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
I do have one more question for you guys, and that is if you guys had one last message to leave as the rising fall, what would that be?
Come to a show.
Go to
Come to a
bed
show,
early.
or just keep playing. Music is music, and music is great. Can get you through like some bad times, and it can also help pump you up for your day. I listen to music all day, every day, whenever I can. So that's just mine. As a guitar player, I'm not the best guitar player out there. I mean, I've been playing for quite a bit, and I've been getting a lot of comments on my playing, which is cool. But on the other hand, it's like, you see guys out there like Paul Gilbert, Steve Vai, George Lynch. I'm like, dude, it's like, you aspire to be them, even though, you develop your playing in a unique way by trying to maybe aspire or just be like, you know what, I'm going to try something different, because and that's where I'm at right now. I try to write different stuff, although influence might come out once in a while. It's maybe not on purpose, but it's hard to be super original these days because there's so much music out there. You just gotta, you know, like everybody was saying, just try to listen to a bunch of different styles of music and just keep playing, and not playing something to come up with something, but just kind of play and noodle around. You never know, you might come up with something that way.
Yeah. If it comes to the last words as far as like with being a musician, is that you have a lot to learn. When you first start out, you don't know anything, so you should shut up and listen and work with people who know what's going on and absorb as much as you can, and don't get into the rock star mentality of like you're better than this person or you're better than that person, because there's always someone better than you. But just try and be like, you know, absorb as much music, like we had a conversation earlier, like, absorb as much music as you can, learn, listen. If you want to evolve as a musician, you need to work with people, you need to listen to music, you need to understand music, and learn how to write songs. Don't worry about how fast you can play or anything like that. It's about the song. The song sells. The song is what people want to hear. They don't care how good you are unless you're like a complete like music nerd. But um, you're not gonna win fans over on how fast you can play. Just learn as much as you can. Be humble about it, and don't take things for granted, because you know everything has purpose in life. So the people you meet, the people you jam with, the club owners you meet, there's a lot of things that are connected. So you know, don't piss people off and screw people over. Just be humble about it, man, and learn as much as you can, and just try and absorb everything. So I mean, you can be successful in life. You can be successful in music. You may not get to the Metallica level, but that doesn't mean anything. Success is defined differently by different people. So, you know, we played Punk in the Corn. You were there, Sonny, obviously playing, and you know that was for us. I think we had a conversation about it. To meet everybody and to have that camaraderie, that was so fulfilling. KTO, the guys in San Diego, I mean, guys from everywhere, DC, everybody. It was like meeting you guys. It was so cool to have that, and it's like that's something that doesn't matter how good you are as a player. That's just like that's on a different plane type of thing. So the key about being a musician is just meet people, be humble about it, learn from other people, respect other people. We have respect for us. We have respect for you, guitar player, bass player, whatever. That's the thing, man. It's just there's so much to take in as a musician, and just go along for the ride, enjoy it. The ones who are assholes, fuck them. The ones who you can, you know, your friends and people you can rely on, your comrades, that's the people you need to be hanging out with, because you'll boost them up and they'll boost you up, you know, and you guys will have success together. So you don't want anyone dragging you down because they think their ego is bigger than, you know, anything else. And I'm done.
Well, now I have nothing to say.
All right, good night, everybody. Let's write a
No, I
song.
was gonna say, you know, leave your ego at the door, because believe it or not, these bands that are successful, research what they're doing. Look into what has made them successful. Don't look at it as competition. Learn from them, because those are people that are where you want to be at one point, and look at what they're doing right and learn from those what they did wrong. You know, it's a learning process, but at the same time, don't forget why you're been in this from the beginning, is because you love writing music, you love performing. I mean, you just got to keep that always in the forefront of your mind, because there's going to be so many disappointments, and once in a while you're going to get these great things that happen, but for the most part it's going to be a lot of negative things, you know, and things that aren't happening in the time frame you want them to. They may eventually do, you know, happen, but it's like you can't let that discourage you. But it's just remember why you did this in the first place, and it was because you loved music.
Absolutely. You guys are all amazing people, and I got it. Can I say something? If I was in Rising Fall, what my words would be? Big shout out to Juggernaut Promotions. Big shout out to Soul Tone Cymbals, and make sure you go check out Viking Bags as well.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man. Hey, thank you for having us. And I gotta say, like,
Yeah.
you're completely professional. It's like mind blowing. I mean, you do your homework. You're a fucking great musician. But I mean, this was fun, and you've got a hell of a career ahead of you. You know, and it's really cool to see you're level headed. I mean, if we've run across people who are got great talent, and they're just like they think their shit doesn't stink. But I mean, you've got it all, man. I mean, the podcast is cool, the interview is cool. You obviously know you can. I mean, you obviously can play and everything, but yeah, it's been fun, man. So,
Sure.
best of luck to you and everything, and hopefully not this year, but next year, we'll see you somewhere in the fields of Iowa.
Hopefully for Woodstock. I would love that.
Tell Alistair we said hello.
He's been in the comments. He's been telling everybody how much he loves you guys, and he's been chatting in the comments a little bit. So
Cool.
I'll make sure to tell him you guys said hi. They're
Yeah.
out in the living room watching right now, so he's probably
One
living a
thing,
pop
too,
back with hi
Indy
in the
strong.
comments.
Indy strong. I mean, we have to
Yeah.
stick together. Yep.
Indy strong. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for your
Thank you,
time.
Sonny.
I really
Appreciate it.
appreciate you guys for letting me interview you guys. You guys have been awesome. And make sure, could I have you guys look at the camera real quick and say this real quick?
Each one individually or together?
All together, individually, however you guys want to.
New